Are you sweet talking me?
I doubted everything. Even my mind.
This isn't your room. You go back in there and go to sleep.
I am here with the Dadman. We're talking actors and performances that we hate. So, just quick introduction. I've watched through Jason X as of today.
Okay.
As of last night, actually. But let's not get stuck on the
Why
dates.
would you do that, though?
I want to watch the whole series.
Okay. I mean, it's terrible. It's horrid.
For the most part.
Okay.
So, that's easy, though. I mean, I could choose 10 actors from 2 of those, maybe even one movie. I could just rattle off the whole cast. I went the route to kind of challenge myself a little bit.
Okay.
Performances where it's one of the actors, I actually couldn't tell you a movie that I like them in, but I'll tell you when we get there. But actors slash actresses are actually pretty good, but had a performance that I just thought was straight poo-poo.
And then they eat the poo-poo.
Mine are mostly just bad actors. They're just bad. Although one had one good role, and then they tried him in other things, and he was a train wreck. But
I think it's fun that we have those differing.
yeah,
I just wanted to let the audience know what is going to be happening going in, and if you can't tell our voices apart, maybe you should talk in a higher pitch.
okay.
I'll let you go first.
No, we do sound alike. I know that. Mine is, and we talked about this before, and I despise Seth Rogen. I just think he's an idiot. I do. He's. I don't know if you knew this. I always have one of these little like trivial things about him. But did you know he was in Donnie Darko? Remember Donnie Darko? Which was a good, odd movie. He was in it. I looked it up to be sure, because I remember like weird things. And I was, when I watched it, I'm like, that's Seth Rogen. But I just think he sucks. I mean, I know he's not funny. He's just very unattractive.
And you like that in your actors. You want them to be very attractive.
No, but they shouldn't be hideous.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so.
I mean, he's not even average looking. He's just.
You got to be sexy at least.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not. I don't mean that. But people are attracted to attractive people. That's why they're called attractive. And if I don't care if he were funny or talented in some way, he's awful. I hate him. Well, I mean, you try to defend him, and maybe you don't dislike him as much as I do. And he was in funny movies. He's not funny.
I really like his politics.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. No, and I hate when that enters into my thinking, and it does sometimes to a degree. I'm not even really sure what his are. I'm fairly sure they're the exact opposite of mine. But, so what? I mean, I'm not. He's just I know people have politics I despise, but love them as actors and entertainers. Mm-hmm. He sucks. He knew Judge Apatow, thank God, or he'd be parking cars for a living in L.A. Is he from Canada? I think he's from Canada, isn't he? Or maybe, I know he said it in a movie, but I thought it was, I'm going to look that up. I swear he's from Canada. I don't know why I think that, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, if we don't fact check that, then we kind of lose all credibility with the audience.
People have to know we're telling the truth about.
People will say, you didn't even know that he's not from Canada. Blow me. Anyways. Yeah,
He's Canadian. How do I know stuff like that?
Because people will talk about how crime in New York has affected them, and he's like, when you park your car on the street, I just expect it to be broken into.
Yeah, I heard him say that. I read that. I guess he said the one time, he said he actually got 2 cars stolen, and one time they did find it, and when he picked it up, there was like a really cool knife in the car. Like that was an excuse. That's just part of life in, I think it was L.A., but maybe in New York. I thought it was L.A. he was talking about.
Could have.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think
Both have
New
crime.
York is on a
Both
map.
have really bad crime. So it applies to both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that's I say stupid shit all the time.
His whole thing is pot. Like pot's funny, you know?
Drugs destroy careers. Take Cheech and Chong. Everybody knows that Cheech and Chong are funny, but just imagine how funny they would be if they didn't smoke pot.
Being high is funny. And it's just not enough. I mean, that's like his whole shtick. It's, I'm going to go get high. It's like, oh, awesome. It's not, I'm not laughing at it. I don't think it's funny. I don't care. You can take meth for all I care. I wish you would, but smoking pot, smoking dope isn't.
Before I go too far down the road, I do want to say, you mentioned up top, I try to defend him. He is a part of some movies that I do find hilarious.
Okay. Like which ones?
Pineapple Express, Superbad, This Is the End, and something else that I'll put a picture of it up while I'm editing this. But yeah, he's like a producer. I don't know, he might have written on those movies as well. And if he did write on then he's a lot funnier than I think he gets credit for.
Well,
I didn't know. Then his character's never the funniest.
True.
The Interview. That's the fourth
I never
one.
saw that.
I like it.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I think his time in the sun has faded. I don't think you're going to see him.
He's been on GQ recently. And I know you said he's ugly, but he was on the cover.
So what?
I'm just saying.
I mean, they put fat people on there now, for crying out loud. Everything's changed. I mean, he's not a GQ. I mean, he's not even average looking. If he wrote any part of those, then I'll give him some credit. Way more than I'd give him now. Because, yeah, he was in Superbad, but he didn't have a big role. I mean, very small. He was basically a lead in Pineapple Express, and that movie's okay. What else?
I do have a soft spot for that movie. I like it.
But it's all about pot. That's the only thing he does. That's all.
I get it. Yeah.
And not that that makes it unfunny. I mean, but
it's not like I find every pot movie hilarious. That's why I got defensive.
Yeah, okay.
That's not what made the money.
So I understand
the movie
you don't,
funny.
You don't dislike him. I don't know. It's just
personally, I'm not like a huge fan of him, but he's not someone I dislike. There's plenty of actors who personally I dislike. Well, yours isn't based all upon personal either. I'm kind of
no. But that definitely, and unfortunately, who they are as a human being affects the way you feel about them. But even if it weren't for that, I probably would just find him a bad actor, bad comic actor, but.
Let me throw one out there. You might have not even seen this.
Remember we
movie.
talked about the cutting off thing?
I know, but we've been going on him for a while.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Tom Hanks, Elvis.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that movie?
I didn't, but I heard about it. I mean, why they made him... I heard his accent was weird, and the makeup was weird, and... I mean, that Colonel Parker was a big part of Elvis, but I heard it was just stupid.
Yeah, I gave it the initial benefit of the doubt because I wasn't around during Elvis's time. I didn't know who the Colonel was. So I was like, maybe that guy sounded like that. And maybe it's like he's just doing a spot-on impersonation. Apparently he didn't even sound like what Tom Hanks was doing.
And the fans made it possible. You can promote all you want to, but if the people don't want to buy a ticket...
Of your problems, my boy. Everyone else you associate with lives from you, Mr. Presley. Even Vernon.
It doesn't help. So I did my part, Elvis did his show, and we were lucky. Great talent, and we had a great show and a lot of fun.
So that was a fuck up in a ton of different ways because it made that you're like this is not like it doesn't what's the audio version of like aesthetic or like pleasing to the eye. You know,
Well, it's still aesthetic. It's just verbally or vocally aesthetic.
yeah,
Phonetic.
it's like not good on the ear.
Well, you can't have that. You can't. If you're going to do a strange impression, like for instance, Daniel Day-Lewis did one for Lincoln. And apparently that was how he sounded. He had a real kind of a squeaky voice. And you never would associate that. I mean, nobody knows what Lincoln sounded like now. But apparently that's what he did. And that, I think, was acceptable. But to get the accent wrong and to have it to be odd, I mean, it detracts from that movie, which I haven't seen. But I heard the lead was pretty cool, right?
Austin Butler as Elvis was very good.
And he is in Dune. And he's
badass,
crazy good in that movie, man. That guy, I hope, gets some roles. And just in Dune, he's crazy good. He just comes out of that guy's eyes.
That character's so good.
Yeah, I love that character.
He looks good too.
Absolutely. I mean,
not
they
like
did great
sexy
idea.
like how you like your actors, but he has
no.
He has a cool look.
Yeah, that's I like my actor sexy. I'll say that.
Wants to love me sexy.
Yeah, but anyway, so Tom Hanks in that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I didn't like Castaway. Oh my God, was that dull?
I didn't mind it. It's not one of my favorite movies. Now, and here's something, just a quick aside, and I want to get your opinion. I have a feeling you might fall on my side of this opinion, but anyone listening, if someone says that they dislike Forrest Gump, run to the hills because they are the most pretentious fucking loser assholes.
I agree.
As far as movies go, not loser,
Like,
not
look, maybe
assholes.
you watched it
but-
5 times and you're sick of it. I get that, but it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's Americana.
It's Americana. That's exactly right. And the way he weaved his life into the very, very important things that happened in American history was just really cool. And then it's a love story, a story about Vietnam to a degree. And if you don't like it, like, what do you like? Like, what, maybe
They
whatever.
like pretentious stuff.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, and we can talk. Was Jenny a bitch? Yeah, she was. She got used up, and then she runs back to Forrest to try to put her back together while she's on her age
she
bed.
was damaged. That's what was the situation with her.
That's
she was
actually
damaged.
true.
I mean, she was abused. Her father was an abusive alcoholic, sexually abusive. So that's...
I take it back.
You should, because don't talk about Jenny that way.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
No, that was always my thing. And then she always loved him, but he was like not, I mean, he was
Special.
delayed.
Yeah.
So
It's a good way to put it. And he's accomplished more than me for being...
more than most people, yeah. The old shrimp company, Bubba Gump Shrimp. And then, whatever, I don't know. But yeah, she was fine. It was a good movie. It's very likable. He was very good in that. Did you see
I think it's a
Philadelphia?
masterpiece. I have not seen Philadelphia.
He was good in that. That was a good movie, too.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I put that on here specifically is because Hanks is a good actor.
Oh, yeah.
And I like him. It's just
But
this
when he does a
performance.
bad one,
Yeah.
that's a good way of for you to pick out your poor acting, poor performances. So you took a very good actor and found ones where he wasn't very good in.
Hit me with your next one.
This one, really, Gerard Butler.
Yeah, I can't. And this one, I think we'll have a good discussion. 300 was badass.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So you're thinking this guy, wow, did he do a great job? And then they tried to put him in rom-coms and other movies and go ahead about it because I want to tell a one movie that he was in that I'm like,
Wasn't he in Law Abiding Citizen?
Yes.
That movie was pretty sick.
That was
I'll have
alright.
to watch it again.
I mean, it wasn't a bad. I mean, Jamie
Fox.
Foxx was in it. I mean,
That movie seems pretty cool. But I don't think I've watched that all the way through.
well, he dies in the end. I'll tell you that.
You fuck.
But you
I
weren't
can't
gonna
believe
watch it.
I watch a movie a day. You think I wouldn't get to it?
There's a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But hang on.
I'll talk while you walk.
All right.
So he is kind of like in the Hollywood plant territory where it seemed like they were kind of setting him up to be one of the next big leading men in Hollywood, maybe even off the heels of 300. And I think Law Abiding Citizen came after. And
Yeah.
then you don't build up to rom-coms. If anything, that's a stepping stone to...
It's part of a portfolio. It's part of a portfolio. That's
I
not your
just-
ultimate goal, like a drama is, right? So, but rom-coms is something to show your versatility, to show your comedic acting. But you're right, that's not what. But I agree with you. It looked like they're building him up to be something, and they tried.
He should have stayed in action movies. That might have been the
Well, he
path
was
for
in
him.
another one, and that's the one I was going to talk about. This movie, I am going to look it up. It was the movie Heat, but it's basically it's like when singers, all right, it's like when, people sample other people's songs, and they just redid Heat, but they updated it, and instead of being in, I don't know where the De Niro Heat was at. I think it was New York, maybe, I don't know.
LA.
It was LA. Okay, well, this one was in LA too, but it was like kind of more raw. He was with a crew that did stuff, but it was him. Boy, I am going to find out who the Pacino type character was.
So I'm assuming Butler was De Niro's role.
No, he was. No, yeah, he was De Niro, but he was. So what he was like a blue collar version of what De Niro played.
That's a tough shoes to fill, I'll say. You have to be a
What-
good actor
yeah.
if you're going to play someone De Niro
He's
plays.
Scottish. I didn't know that.
Big Nick, original gangster cop in the flesh.
What's your tally?
4 dead, 6 on the way to the hospital.
I take it he's a bad guy.
No, that's Gerard Depardieu.
That guy's French, so you weren't even close.
Nah, I think he's Scottish.
You don't know. Oh, he was in Angel Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, where he plays something. I don't know.
Was he?
So 50 Cent was in this. I think it was called Den of Thieves.
I'm gonna make you a deal. Give me the names of all the guys that got away. I'll get you a medic. I ain't no snitch.
He made a fair amount of movies, at least. So for someone who's pretty crappy. Oh, I don't even know the Nick O'Brien, hard drinking leader of the Regulators, an elite unit of So that's what he played, a guy named Nick O'Brien, and they were jerks, to be honest. They were kind of dickheads. But the guy who was no, I'm sorry, Gerard Butler played the Al Pacino character.
Oh, that
He was a
doesn't
cop. He was a
doesn't
cop.
even track.
Well, he was
Should
like
have
a
been
really
De Niro.
whatever. And then the guy is an actor that you've seen before, and I don't even know his name.
Well, we don't need to.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I agree with you. I mean, he had good movies, but yeah, I think generally you could. Of names we're familiar with, I think he's easily someone you could put on a list of bad actors.
Den of Thieves it was called. And even as you look it up, when I go into the stuff, they say see also Heat. So it was a knockoff of Heat, which is a classic movie.
Yeah, the heist movie of all heist movies.
Right. Where's the van movie? Where's the van? Although I don't think they said it. in
No,
the
that's
movie.
Dude, Where's My Car? My next
no.
pick is
No.
Jared Leto.
No, I have just added
As-
him. That's just this morning.
Joker from Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I agree with you, but I think it was kind of written that way. I don't know how else he could have played it, really, but maybe he had more wiggle room, but I mean, I don't... He wasn't Joker at all to me. I don't know what he was. Just kind of he seemed like a something.
He did play
in
Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, he was. To be honest, he was very, very good in that. Very.
I agree. That's why I don't think he's necessarily a bad actor, because if you show... And he was good in Requiem for a Dream. Right. And that's kind of another one where it's like, that was written so good that I don't know if it was his performance or just that story was so good. But for sure I know, Suicide Squad sucked. He read it, though. I would love to play the Joker. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. But if I'm like an actor who has that much of a name value...
Jared?
Yeah. Well,
he's a middling type actor. But anyway, you would say you wouldn't have done it?
Yeah, if I read it, I'm like, I don't think this is good.
Well, he played the psychotic Joker. Pure psychotic. No, very little depth to the character. Just, I don't know.
He played someone...
It was a bad movie, too.
It was acting. I think you could see it was acting. Okay?
Yeah.
And when you have iterations before you with Heath Ledger's Joker, and people are like, you love this guy too much, whatever. He plays psychotic or sociopathic the way it is in reality. He's not like tongue-in-cheek, like, I'm a sociopath, right? It's like, it's earnest. You know?
I just think it was a bad movie. And I don't know if I blame him for that. He's supposed to be a younger version of the Joker at that time, right?
It's a whole new character. It's not in any way... I mean, it's the same character.
To some degree, you have to think, well, is he older or younger than he was in another Joker? I mean, I know they're not the same character. Well, whatever, maybe not. But, so I think he tried to play a younger Joker. I don't know. And...
like a Joker for younger people, I think.
Maybe, yeah. But it didn't work. I'm sure he knows that. It's no, surprise to him that people did not like that one. But it was a bad movie.
Yeah, the movie sucked.
So I don't think he could have done a lot, because he wasn't really even the lead. He wasn't. He was just part of an ensemble cast. Will Smith may have been the lead, right?
When it comes to screen time, it was him and Margot Robbie. Which, by the way, I think I mentioned this before. We were talking about him. If you don't have him on your list, he's my sixth man. Will Smith.
Off the bench. Yeah.
I fucking hate that dude. And his wife is worse. The only thing
she was been in 2 movies I'm aware of.
I've only seen her. I think she's in Matrix.
She's in one, not the original. Well, she's in one of the Matrix movies. Yes, and I didn't know it was her. And I've seen that character, but then I saw it and they said, "Oh, this is her." I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. But I mean, it's not like she has a big part.
Yeah,
she's just.
I can't say it's a bad role. Just as far as
she wore sunglasses and just acted cool. That was her acting.
She was just and had short hair and wore sunglasses. That was what she did.
Yeah, pretty much. And
there's nothing wrong with
short hair is kind of a problem.
Yeah,
but apparently she's got an issue there too.
Yeah, we like.
I noticed I didn't even chime in on that. I'm just gonna pretend you didn't say it. But she was in another one, Demon. It was a who writes The Crypt Keeper? Do you know who that author is? The writer of The Crypt Keeper? Anyway, she was in one of those. She was the lead kind of in that. And she wasn't bad. I didn't know who she was at the time I saw it. Demon Knight. That's it. Demon Knight. Where anyway, she ends up being kind of the hero in it.
Oh, jeez. I was like, it's Tales from the Crypt.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the movie is Demon Knight that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I had no idea what you were talking
But
about.
other than that, I don't. Well, I mean,
I've seen that
how do you
movie.
even call her
It
an
has-
actress? I mean, she doesn't do anything.
It has
does she?
Billy Zane in it.
Yes.
Demon Knight.
Yes.
He's playing Marlon Brando in a biopic. He looks just like him.
Well, he kind of does anyway. He does. He looks a lot like. That'd be a big role for him. Billy hasn't had a lot of great roles lately. I'm saying like 20 years.
He was in Titanic.
Yeah, that's an old movie, bud.
You sound like
up,
a teenager.
Well, I mean, I think it's 30 years old.
Dadman doesn't watch movies that are older than 30
Well, I'm not
years.
saying that, but I mean, as an acting career, if you haven't been in a good movie in 25 years, that's a pretty long drought. It's not like he's, knocking them out every 2-3 years. He's definitely not Tom Cruise, for crying out loud. I have to look.
Well, that leads me to my next Tom Cruise. No, Hayden Christensen
Oh, he's terrible.
in
1997, so almost 30 years old, Titanic. And he wasn't even a lead.
He wasn't, but it's a big movie.
Yeah, definitely.
You're
I
probably
remember.
living off royalties. Hayden Christensen, I'm going to say the middle Star Wars, because at least at the end you get where he burns up in the lava pit. Spoiler alert. I mean, if you didn't, you don't know, whatever. He plays Anakin Skywalker. In the last one, when he battles Obi-Wan, he actually gets a chance to act.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them! I hate you!
But in the middle one, I think that's when he says, "I hate sand," and he grew up on a planet that was completely covered in sand. And that's
Well,
just
maybe
bad
that's
writing.
why he hates it.
That's bad writing. But
What? Why did he say he hates sand? I don't remember that.
he's talking to Natalie Portman, who also plays very poorly in that. And if you're like, well, Hayden Christensen hasn't been good in anything since, which people who actually watch his movies probably would argue he has some good performances outside of Star Wars, whatever. Natalie Portman's actually a good actress. She's not good
Yes.
in that movie either.
She's not bad. She's so pretty. I think.
Hayden Christensen's worse, but Natalie Portman's actually a fucking good actor. She is good. She is really good
Black
in
Swan?
Black Swan.
Yeah, that was a big thing for her. I'm kind of glad. I don't know why I like her, but
And she's in a movie called May December. It might not. You would like. I mean, you said you didn't like. All right, let's rewind it a bit. In our last video, you were like, you contradicted yourself.
no, I didn't.
You were like, I don't.
You misunderstood me. That's what happened.
There was a movie where it was just about two people that you said you loved, and then you're like, I don't like dramas like Brokeback Mountain. It's just two people. Philip Seymour
Oh,
Hoffman
yeah.
the lead, but Joaquin and him are basically both the leads. And
Yeah, well, that's weird because I picked
Philip Seymour Hoffman for the Master.
Yeah, because that was just a
Yeah,
get into your head type of weird movie.
So, Saul, totally agree. Because you brought him up. My honorable mention, you're going to love this, Brokeback Mountain. I know it's a gay movie. Again, nothing wrong
I never
with that.
saw it. I just can, and not because I don't. That doesn't
Men
bother me. at all.
kissing
It's just
is-
no. Shut up. It's just because it's just a stupid. I don't like certain dramatic movies. I mean, it's like it just doesn't. See, that's why I like more movies because there's something of significance that happens.
I know.
And this
Let
is
me
like,
say,
so what?
I came into, I was like,
Two little boys have a crush on each other and go horseback riding.
whereas earlier in the episode you liked a movie that was The Master. You said you really liked The Master, and then you said you're like, I have no interest in a movie just about two people.
Okay, I love Philip Seymour Hoffman. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. And I probably wouldn't have watched. I almost watched it by accident. It was just, oh, it's on, I'll watch it, kind of thing. And Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, come on. So those are like two heavyweight actors. Great. Now,
Gyllenhaal and Ledger are both really good.
No, they're not.
They are really good.
Never changes his facial expressions. Heath, maybe. But he did one great role, and nobody expected that from him, to be honest. Everybody was like, oh my God, that's Heath Ledger? Because they'd never seen him in anything. They saw him in like a 10 Things I Hate About You or some weird, stupid movie. No, it's not.
It is.
I mean, they're like high school movies. You know, I mean, you can't be a great actor in like Mean Girls. You know, you're not in that type of movie.
Argue that you can.
No, they don't.
Not Lindsay Lohan, but Regina George. Which isn't the actress's name. That's the character's name.
Is that the one that says "Don't stop trying to make fetch happen"? No, that's Rachel Adams.
I've never seen it, and
I've heard of that.
I'm disappointed that you have and can quote it.
No, though that they use that expression now, which means someone who's trying to make something like popular or part of the vernacular. You say, "Stop trying to make fetch happen" because it's from that movie.
Have you seen Nightcrawler?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Have you seen Prisoners?
He didn't act in it. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, man, you bought children's clothes.
Tell me what you're drawing.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Spin in a hurry.
Yes, you can! Yes, you can!
Hey. You move, I'll put a bullet to your fucking head.
Yeah,
he barely spoke. Was he autistic?
He had quiet intensity the whole time. Like
I think it was bored.
Like PTSD intensity the entire time. And he is scary whenever he is like arresting the suspects.
No.
Yeah.
You know, they bring
That's one of my favorite I have like hundreds of favorite performances, but Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal in Prisoners are two of my favorite performances.
Hugh Jackman was excellent. But listen. Okay, so you have this guy, for some reason, he buttons his top button with no tie. He meets the girl that he saved, because he saved the daughter of Hugh Jackman. And, so Hugh Jackman's in the hospital, and they bring this little girl in. Oh, this little girl wants to come in and see you. And he just sits there. He doesn't even say anything. You know, I mean, wouldn't you be kind of like, oh, honey, you know, whatever.
It's okay. Hey. Hey. It's okay. Hey. Hey. Help! 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 Help!
He's like I don't understand that part of it. It was, it's a very, very small scene, but
he's a broken man.
Well, he's really broken.
I think he's seen. Yeah,
what?
That's what he's portraying.
What gave you that impression that he had PTSD from?
When he
from what?
slams his fist into a mirror.
I do that. That's common. I don't remember that part.
He's like blinking like he's
the blinking
crazy person.
Yeah, that's true. So he blinked really, really well. I'll give him an A for that.
Literally,
I see
it. You have to watch the movie again.
No, I don't.
And then
I watched it twice.
And tell me that is not a good performance. I just think you are.
In a way,
it's not the greatest performance ever, but it is a great performance.
You're cutting me off again. You're doing it. I told you I'd squirt you with a squirt bottle, and I forgot it.
I'm quiet.
Okay. You know what? It's going to sound stupid, really stupid, but I see it in two ways. So in a way, you're absolutely right. But in another way, it's, I understand damaged.
I knew exactly what to do, but in a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do.
But he barely speaks. No one's that damaged. If you're that damaged, you should be like in an institution, not a cop, okay? But I do see, there is intensity. He does act without speaking. He acts with his eyes and his lack of facial expression and so forth. But whatever. Okay, we're not going to argue about that. I mean, let's just say I'm right and move on, because that's generally how it works out, and it saves us time. Correct. All right, go ahead. I didn't say stop talking completely. I just said don't cut me off.
Let's go to your
Matt Damon. Matt Damon. I never saw Good Will Hunting. I never will watch it. I used to despise Affleck too until I saw The Town, which was a great movie.
Affleck's in Good Will Hunting.
I know that. I know they were buddies. They grew up in Boston, whatever. And Damon actually has some decent roles where you don't hate him, where he's in a good movie. I just dislike him. So it's hard to like his performances. Although, like Interstellar, for instance, he tried to trick them. So
I like that role.
I do too, because he was kind of sinister. So he wanted to strand somebody on his ice ball of a planet, and he was sending out signals that said, "Yes, we found the new Earth. We can all go here," to lure someone to him.
Yeah, that's just a well-written character. I haven't watched enough of his resume to staunchly defend him or not. I've heard.
What is some? I mean, don't go to Good Will Hunting, because
I've heard the talented Mr. Ripley's supposed to be good. Rounders, if you like poker, is.
Yeah, I watched part of that. I think it may be the whole thing, and he was okay. He was pretty. I mean, he was.
It's not a great. I mean, it's not like a great performance.
He was in. I haven't seen it. But
The Martian, by Ridley Scott. I wouldn't say that's a great performance either, but I haven't watched the entirety of it.
I'd let him stay there and die instead of going to all the trouble to go get him.
Well, it's
he's
just a
communicating
movie.
his weird things. It's like, Matt,
they're
we're
just
sorry.
trying to sell potatoes the whole time, from what I've gathered.
Yeah.
Isn't that like what the whole movie's about?
What are you talking about?
He's just growing potatoes
That's the only thing he can grow. It's not like he likes them. It's like,
is it a potato chip commercial?
Well, okay, he's on Mars, all right? Artificial environment he has to create with a big tent.
Well, it's not like he's in Ireland. Why is he just making potatoes?
I would assume that was something that grows fast in his... I mean, it's not like he had choices. You can grow corn and mangoes.
He should have grown like milkshakes or something that people like.
I know, but the milkshake seeds, they don't send them into space because something happens to them. It's a zero gravity thing where they don't turn out.
Okay.
So it's science. There's a lot of science in there.
It's just weird, though, is it not?
There's obviously something about potatoes, which I don't understand. I also remember the whole thing blew up. Remember that?
The Mars did, right?
Well, he had this enclosure that was growing stuff in. And I don't know what he did. He did something stupid, but it blew up. But
what a stupid idiot.
No wonder you got stuck on Mars.
Yeah, I guess...
he's not that bad.
My dislike would just come from, though I have seen him in interviews, and I'm like, he does come across as a very smart man. He was talking about how the death of VHS has dramatically changed the evolution of film. I was like, this is someone in the industry, which I hate that I just said that phrase, but an actor who actually kind of understands, there's no better term, the industry, the business of it. I was like, he's not just some vapid... guy who just can say lines.
Right.
He kind of understands.
He's been in it a long time.
Yeah, and he's written...
Well, what about, like, Blu-ray? I mean, no VHS. Okay, so everything's streaming now.
Yeah, people aren't even buying that now.
Yeah. I don't know how long ago the interview was. But, yeah, no kidding. Everything changes. The news industry's changed dramatically because of social media and the internet.
It drastically affects what... production companies will put into theaters because you can't.
You're not going to make
just
it into
break
theaters.
even.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to get into the green or the black, however you want to say.
Black.
I do think it's racist to say in the black, but because you don't have those
then why'd you
post. Well, sometimes
post release. Yeah.
Bump.
Yeah. Well, you get all of it from post now. You don't get anything at the theaters, right?
No, everything's in the theaters.
Well, but then you sell it to somebody.
To streaming,
You're not doing
but
it for
it's nowhere near as
You don't
much.
get the revenue?
No. You just get like a that's
Flat fee?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. All right. So you go really to pop on the first week.
Some streaming, so Apple did a thing, and I think it turned out to be a terrible financial investment. They wanted to have a movie with Brad Pitt and I think George Clooney. Those two are butt buddies. No offense. I like Brad Pitt. George Clooney.
I like butt buddies. Go ahead.
$350 million, I want to say, for a movie with those two that they just didn't even market even, and it went into
the one
theaters.
Called Wolves?
I think, yeah.
Because it's, I mean, I don't know if it's available streaming or not, or if you can go and pay for it. But yeah, that was a really bad idea because that looks like a terrible movie. Because someone is on my list who is in it, so
Clooney.
Yeah.
Let's just jump to him.
He's whatever.
Well,
I used to actually
Batman. Talk about him as Batman.
He was terrible. He was the worst.
I've never seen it, but I've heard good things about it.
Well, you heard wrong because he wasn't he in Batman and Robin? He was in Batman and Robin. It's considered terrible Batman movie, right? It was him.
Yeah, but take this into consideration. That's the only one that had Robin in the title, so it could have had something to do with that.
Why would that hurt?
Some people like Robin, some people don't.
Okay.
I just think you're putting too much of the onus on him.
No. It's it was the natural progression of it. It's just, it was a bad movie. It was the colors were you could go into a convulsions watching it. It was just super bright and weird colors, and because Terminator, or Schwarzenegger was in it. He was
Mr.
Dr. Freeze. Yeah, Dr. Freeze.
I thought it was Mr. Freeze.
Well, he could be right. Could be right.
While you look that up, he was in the Ocean's movies. George.
I've never seen any of those. I've actually took pride in the fact I think there is actually a movie I saw him in, start to finish, one, and I can't even remember what it is. But I pride myself in the fact I have not watched George Clooney in a movie. He was in one called The American, and he was a overseas hitman, and it was so stupid. He didn't do anything. He just went out to eat, and somebody was following him or something. I don't know. It was really dumb.
Sounds anti-patriotic of you to not like a movie.
I didn't say
The
he
American.
was. Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Was it Dr. Freeze?
I would have thought this would be an easy search.
Yeah, you would think, right? You're right. It's Mr. Freeze. He was a doctor.
Can you say that again louder into the mic?
It was Mr. Freeze.
No,
it was Mr. Freeze. It was Mr. Freeze. He was a scientist, though.
You were right.
I was right. Okay, moving on.
Wait, my turn. Because you went two in a row. I don't think you've seen this movie. You haven't seen the last two, but this one I can at least razz you for. The next one you're gonna be like, why did you put this on? It's Francis Ford Coppola made this film, which he is the director of Apocalypse Now.
I know. It doesn't mean you can't make crappy
shut
movies.
the fuck up about. Keanu Reeves in Dracula.
Oh yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah, it's another.
I almost forgot that he did that. And
I think he did. I think a lot of people did. It's one of those that is actually it's so. I'm not gonna say so bad, but it was just
really forgettable.
Forgettable's not good, and the only thing people remember it for is that he messed up the accent so bad.
Keanu, would he do it as a surfer or what?
No, he was trying to actually hit the accent, and it just came off. So, no, he was going for an old timey English. I don't know. You'd have to watch.
Listen,
I can't describe what he was.
This is what they do. It's just so funny sometimes. So if they want to make a character or a group of people seem smart or sophisticated or powerful, they give them English accents.
Dude,
and
they
I've
use that
seen
for
that.
everything.
I've seen that where the group of people is fighting against the English. and those people have English accents, and it's like, what are you doing? You don't think anyone's going to notice this? But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. They do. I mean, they do that all the time. That could be like Romans, all right? Romans didn't have English accents. They conquered England, and at the time they conquered England, England was a bunch of like Stone Age tribes. I mean, I don't even think they had a bow and arrow or metal tools. They were very, very
I wouldn't know.
Archaic, whatever. I can't think of the term, but primitive.
Yeah.
So, Rome gets a bad rap. But Rome, granted, had slaves, many, thousands, hundreds of thousands. But they spread civilization throughout.
They should pay reparations.
They should. They can't find them. It's a hard part.
That's our problem.
See, the thing about reparations, you've got to find the people that are going to pay them. And that's where everything breaks down.
Maybe we should make a time machine and pay reparations that way.
Yeah. Okay. That's not going to work either. But anyway, who were we talking about?
Your turn.
Well, who was the last guy you talked about?
Keanu Reeves, who I like. I think I've heard he's actually super nice.
Yeah,
I like him in movies.
Him all the time. Like they'll like film him on a subway. He just like
super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, really laid back and nice guy.
But yeah, I have no problem with him just in that movie, which I'm not.
He's made a lot of bad movies.
I wouldn't be surprised by that. But he's in just as many. The John Wick series, people are huge fans of.
Yeah.
He was in Point Break that I like. The Matrix is obviously iconic.
Point Break. And then they remade that, and it was bad.
I remember when it was coming out, when I saw the commercial on TV, I was like, I want to watch that. I'm glad I didn't see it. Probably would have ruined it for me. I watched the original, and that's good. Why they made
it. The original was like very, very good. Excellent. But then, because nobody can think of anything original, they have to remake it. It's like when they remade Rollerball, that was like shitting on the Sistine Chapel. I love Rollerball, and Rollerball there's more to it than just the action. I mean, it's a political, it's almost like 1984, but there's a sport involved, where it's a totalitarian society, and there's the energy industry is just all consolidated and whatever. But anyway, they remade it, and they made this weird course. Who was in that was Heyman from wrestling. Paul Heyman. Yeah, he's in it. He acts as an announcer, and it's bad, really bad. But there's actually, what else was something weird about it? There was a guy, I think it was on The Real World or something, who actually acted in it. If
it's not one of the big names, I won't know.
No, we wouldn't know him at all. But I remember, for some reason, they put this guy into this movie. They did that with, remember The Animal by Rob Schneider? You probably didn't
remember
see it.
that, but I don't think I saw it.
So there was a girl, she was on Survivor.
Really? Well,
and and she was like the co-lead in the movie.
Okay, so were you with it had to have been the remake that you were talking about with the Real World guy being in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that was an era when reality TV was really starting to pop off, and I think they thought
crossover.
This is the way to do it now.
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't think it is the way to do it. But let's
no more.
Let's go to I think it's your last one. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
All right. And I have
Seth Green. I shouldn't even mention him because I don't even know if he's alive. Is he?
No, I think he is. I will give him credit before you go on your thing. He made Robot Chicken, and I think that's...
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's a pretty cool show.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. That's so weird, that show. I love it, though. But what's the one with the milkshake and the fries?
Aqua Team Hunger Force. That one's a good Adult Swim show too.
Oh my God, is that funny? It's so weird, but it's hilarious. I love that movie. Yeah, he's just a jerk, Seth Green. And he was good in some stuff. I really don't know anything he was bad at. I don't like him.
What did he do specifically that you don't like? I don't know anything about him.
Okay, I read something about him one time. Like when he's on set, he's a big dick. I mean, they showed him he had a rant because somebody touched him or something. I don't know what it was. But it wasn't like, you're not Brando, Seth, okay? You're like a gimmick. A short little redheaded dude who's semi-funny. So don't be so full of yourself. That's all I got on Seth.
Gotcha.
You have any?
I got one last one. You probably haven't seen this movie. I wouldn't even recommend you watch it just because of how bad it is. I probably should have said this up front because I think it would have caught people's attention because this specific performance actually got nominated, I think, for Best Actress at the Oscars.
Okay.
I'll put that up right now if it did or not.
What is it, My Cousin Vinny?
Ana de Armas in Blonde, which was the biopic for Marilyn Monroe that they put on. First of all, she's Chilean. And she has an accent. Now, there's British people.
Strike two.
There's British people, and they have accents, right?
But they can do American.
But they can do American accents.
Yeah.
You're doing look, I'm not like the biggest Marilyn Monroe fan, but I've seen her in movies, and I do have I have an idea of the cultural impact that she had. She was one of the most. There's a lot of starlets from that time, or whatever the fuck you want to call them.
Right? Yeah, that's what they called them. Yeah.
She has perhaps the biggest name value still.
She's got huge name value for sure. So if you're making a movie about her, and I remember, I'm not gonna watch that. But Blonde, I kind of remember it coming out.
Well, the movie sucks.
Couldn't they find anybody else? I mean, come on. I can't find an American actress who doesn't have a thick, Spanish accent to play Marilyn Monroe. I would think anybody.
And even body type wise, she doesn't match either.
Yeah, because she was what you call a buxom blonde.
Yeah.
She was, they say statuesque, but she wasn't like very super thin. She was thick.
And that is also part of why she was.
Yes.
So kind of groundbreaking.
Well, I mean, it contributed to her, her image for sure. Now, this chick that played it, was she what?
She's skinnier than her.
Like a lot? Was she well endowed?
That's the one thing, but
well, that's probably good enough for guys.
Yeah, it's trying to be an artsy movie.
Oh, can't do that.
You got to you have to have a faith representation, and I would have appreciated on an artistic level if they would have got that. To me, I just think it's actually an offensive, not like, oh, I was offended. It was like, I can't believe you expect people to waste their time watching this drivel type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like this
especially on her. I mean, who did it? Was it like...
No, I think you could and should make a good movie about her.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. She's a cultural icon.
I thought you were saying why it's drivel because they made a movie about Marilyn Monroe.
No. I mean, now, like, that's not for me. I'm not the audience for that.
I watched the shit version. I would clearly watch the good version.
Good version. Yeah, I mean, there's some things that are great. I just have no interest in. Like, I didn't watch There Will Be Blood, and I'm like, I love him, but I'm like, I'm not interested.
Why the fuck?
I know. I don't.
That's
I'm
actually,
like that. I know.
It's a masterpiece.
I might someday. I should, but
I'd watch it tonight.
I watch stupid movies all the time, but I won't watch There Will Be Blood. Some dramas.
It's legitimately iconic.
I know,
and it's one of the best roles he's played.
I know. And hey, I am what I am, right? I'm at least smart enough to know that I should probably But I love movies, which I do. Good performances and everything. Why wouldn't I want to watch that from one of my favorite actors? But I don't. I have no interest. Although, if I were to watch it, there's always movies like, I don't want to watch this. And I watch it, and I'm like, wow, that was good. It happens all the time.
I'm the same
even
way.
Not even good movies. Some that I'm like kind of coerced into watching by, and I'm like, wow, I really like that. It was pretty good. But like old men like me, just set in our ways. Like, nah, not going to do it. That's why I was so proud about the George Clooney thing, where I never watched any of his movies. I never watched Oceans, and then the women did it, right? Didn't they do it?
Ocean's 8, which it's better because it is all women.
Really?
There's all women in it. Yes.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, is it actually better?
Well, it has all women in it.
Okay, we're not going to get an answer.
I've never seen it. I can't say.
It's like Ghostbusters, right? How much better it was with an all-female cast.
Yeah, that one is better though.
Yeah. Boy, that one gets panned hard. I said, what a stupid waste of time that was.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to take characters that were established as men, and instead of writing a unique character for women, you should just
replicate them with women.
Well, as women though.
Absolutely, yeah. A woman version of Dan Aykroyd, a woman version of Bill Murray.
Well, because why would you write a whole new character that could be interesting?
You know how much time that costs? Or that is? So you're right.
I just think it's... Why would you
Did
do
they
that?
use the exact... Or a very super similar script? Like...
Again, I haven't watched the movie.
Well, yeah. Apparently no one did.
Yeah.
Don't even know if it's bad because no one watched it.
Yeah.
So we just assumed.
Well, I didn't want to steal, I didn't want to buy a ticket for the movie because what if a woman wanted to watch the movie?
That's a cultural appropriation, I think. That's what it's considered that.
I can't steal her seat in the theater.
That's not right. Quit being a patriarch.
There's
a misogynist.
There's women actresses, women actors, women in their performances that I think are awesome. Now I'm probably going to gravitate more towards male performances because I'm a dude. And it's like, dude, I know you said this, and I think you'll agree with what I'm gonna say. Sex appeal has no. If you're supposed to, if in the movie you're supposed to be like a ladies' man or something, and you're look like a doofus, I'm gonna be like, okay, that's weird.
No, I didn't mean it quite like that. But people are attracted to attractive people. So, you don't see a lot of leading men who are very average looking, or leading women.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's all there is. I'm saying that's part of it. That's part of a package as an actor or actress. You're at least semi attractive.
Well, I think it's gotten out of control, and this is where I'll leave this video. Is it seems like a prerequisite to be like a leading man now is that you have to be ripped or jacked or get on steroids and look huge. And I think it's ever since The Rock, who I love because he was a WWF superstar, when he became a box office success, it almost became the new standard that you had to be jacked.
Yeah, well, you could say Schwarzenegger or even Stallone.
Yeah, started in the 80s.
It started before that. It did. It did.
With whom though?
Well, it was a different kind of version of masculinity. Is like John Wayne, right? John Wayne had over 100 movies, I think. And he played basically the same character in every one of them.
I like that version of masculinity, if I'm being honest. And I'm not a cowboy or like a country boy.
Right.
But he is, I don't know, I do.
There was a lot of other actors who followed him who were very similar. Lee Marvin, John Ford. John Ford is maybe before him. Charles Bronson, other people.
John Ford was the director. He was a director.
Yeah, but he was a very...
No, he wasn't.
All right, I think he may have been in a movie. other than
I mean,
directing it.
he directed like 100 movies.
Okay, well,
He's
he may
way better known as a. Think of who you were.
Very
trying to
masculine,
think of.
though. It's very masculine.
Well, he directed John Wayne.
Okay, I'm looking it up. I think he was in.
I'm sure he was in a film.
Okay, that's what I'm. That's what I was talking about.
Have
when
you
he acted.
Have you seen that film though?
Yes.
I highly doubt it.
I saw it.
I mean, I
don't know the name
I know
or what it was
Tarantino
about.
has acted in films, but I think he's better known as the director of film.
Okay, you didn't have to like yell at me though. I mean, you made me feel bad. Well, you didn't. I don't care, but
comedically, it works better if I make you feel bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. John Ford was an American film director and okay, he never acted. All right, that's my bad.
Really funny. Now, who were you thinking of? Were you thinking of?
I don't know who
if it's an old guy. I'm trying to. The only John.
I don't know why I even know his name. I mean, I don't. It said. I think he did, like you said, directed a lot of John Wayne movies. I don't know why that would. How would I even know his name? I don't know directors at all. I know like the names of 5 directors.
Yeah, I don't know.
Total.
Well, John Ford, he's not in your spec, if that's how you say that. But he is like the godfather of the Western.
Yeah. No, yeah.
The American Western.
Yeah. Why did I think he acted?
John Travolta, maybe?
Yes, I confused those two. John Ford and John Travolta, because they're both named John. No, just a mistake on my part, which is rare.
Okay, one more quick little tidbit. This has nothing to do with almost anything. It just...
Even life itself.
Pulp Fiction, Bruce Wayne, or Bruce Willis, and John Travolta, okay?
Yeah.
John Travolta was supposed to represent, maybe the 80s action hero, and Bruce Wayne was supposed
90s?
to, yeah, and Bruce Wayne killing him, why do I keep saying Bruce Wayne? Bruce Willis killing him was supposed to show, like, this is the evolution of the action star. That's how, I guess, like...
No, but John Travolta, was he an 80s action star?
It wasn't necessarily... It was how they looked.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Willis looked similar to how he looked in Die Hard. Though, I haven't seen that movie, but don't tell the people.
Oh, my God.
I'll watch it.
The gaps in your movie viewing are...
I've watched 1,000 movies.
Yeah, or Die Hard.
I know.
I mean, that's like asking what Gone with the Wind was about. Or saying...
What is that about?
I think it's got something to do with the Civil War. And what else? Saying you've never heard of The Wizard of Oz.
I've seen that.
Well, that's good because that's probably Citizen Kane, Wizard of Oz 1 and 2 as far as...
Best?
Not necessarily best, but just so prevalent or so iconic or known or considered American, great American, or part that represent American filmology. Yes.
And one last thing I want to say before we end it.
What was the name of the sled in Citizen Kane?
Rosebud. Now,
one
last thing I wanted to say.
Okay.
Is I had said Forrest Gump is Americana. Now, this comparison that I'm about to make, I want to get...
this is when you go stretch something
I want to be
absolute limit.
I want to be commended on this.
That you said Americana?
I was very close.
You knew what it meant?
I was very close. It is to movies what American Pie is to music.
I think you might be right about that. That's a good analogy.
Don McLean.
Yeah, I know who sang it, buddy. I heard it before you were born, so I'm quite aware. I've actually heard people explain the lyrics and stuff like that, and I thought I knew all these things. I don't know. I think they're true, but then I think Don McLean said, nah, none of them are true.
I think they are.
I think they are too. I mean, come on. What the lyrics are pretty. They're symbolic of something. The only one I know for a fact, we actually watched a movie, or about the song, when he said, moss grows fat on a rolling stone. He was talking about himself, that for like, after he got out of college, I guess, or did whatever he was doing, he just kind of sat around and got fat. That's what he was talking about in that particular line. But other ones, I'm almost sure, when he talks about Jack Sprat sat on a candlestick, that's Mick Jagger. Because he calls him Jumpin' Jack Flash or Jack.
Because
Flash.
I think that's referring to
Adamant. I think it's called Adamant Speedway. Where the Hell's Angels, no angel born in hell.
Yeah.
Well, they were security.
Could break that Satan spell.
Yeah, because then a guy died there. They fought with the audience.
I thought it was at Candlestick Park.
No.
And that's
Adamant
why he said
Speedway.
On a candlestick.
No, because of the nursery rhyme, Jack Sprat sat on a candlestick. It had nothing to do with Candlestick Park. No, it was Adamant Speedway.
Well,
which was the Western version of
the Indy 500.
No, the concert was the Western version of Woodstock. And they say, so Woodstock, peace, love, rock and roll, and then they did Adamant, and then, it had a killing and fights, and they said that was the end of the 60s. That was the official end of the 60s.
People died at Woodstock, too, though.
Yeah, but not fighting with the security. I mean, they died probably because they were so high they forgot to eat or drink water.
That is the hippie way.
That's
so you're
the way
right.
I want to go.
And fighting is not the hippie way.
No, it isn't.
Damn, yeah. And I think the funeral for whoever died, they do, that picture is what they call the end of the 60s.
Yeah.
Very cool. Dropping some knowledge at the end of the episode,
I just
Dad,
know
man.
so much weird things. Now, did you see Woodstock 99?
Yeah, they have a 2 documentary, I think, or
There
at
might be
least 1.
2. Yeah.
That's good. Limp Bizkit really...
Yeah.
It was on asphalt, for one. That's a terrible idea for a festival.
Because they said it was
doesn't
like
have free
120 degrees on the asphalt, man.
Yeah.
It was an old Air Force base.
Yeah.
And like one of the guys who they were interviewing, and there was a bunch of them, but one of them who had worked on it, as it was going on, was a young kid. And he said, do you have any idea, like, who these performers are and what's going to happen when you have them? Because they're also like super high energy performers. So you're just going to like wind these guys up like crazy and something's going to happen. And then did you know they had Fatboy Slim? Do you remember hearing about him?
I've heard the name.
He was a DJ, whatever. He was in like this airplane hangar. Airplane hangar, and they had a thing going on from like midnight to like 4 a.m. And they went insane in there. It was insane. Somebody drove a vehicle into it through the crowd.
Wow.
I mean, well, if you watched it, and it just, and the guys that went there, because there was just 2 guys who looked like idiots, but nice guys. Oh, I'd go again. And, the food, the food was expensive. Water was expensive. Hot as hell. All the like porta-johns got tipped over and set things on fire, and I'd go back.
Saw the fires, yeah.
The
one thing I heard, it was one of my takeaways, is Limp Bizkit has a song called Break Stuff, and they, like, the fans had gotten to like nearly a fever pitch.
Yeah.
And they were like, we'll just say they were in like the prime time spot, whatever.
Yeah, they were.
Limp Bizkit, because they were really big.
The night before it was
99.
Korn, and then it was Limp Bizkit.
Exactly. And they said, do not play this song. You will have riots. Like, please don't. And they said, okay. And then they did. And that's when shit started to get burnt. And it's history. And
that's not. No, the burning didn't start till the finale. Because, like, morons, they passed out candles to do a memorial for, I don't know who it was, someone who died. But when he did his thing, they started to attack. You remember, you saw the towers.
Mm-hmm.
They were attacking the towers. They were climbing up it. They were ripping things off. And there's people up there who were like, "We're under attack." And
that would be so scary. You'd fall like 50 feet to your death.
Yeah. And I think eventually the tower fell. It wasn't that night because no one was in the tower when they toppled it. But that's a crazy documentary. If you ever a little advice or recommendation, that is fun to watch. It's nuts.
Yep. You got your recommendation. And watch my Halloween retrospective because it's really good. You should check that out too. You're a big fan. You have checked it out. You're a big fan. Tell them how good it is.
It's really, really good.
I mean, if you like the series, can't go wrong with watching the retrospective.
Have I seen it? I haven't seen it. No, it is good. I have seen it.
You have.
Yeah.
Just lie to them.
It's great.
That's all they want.
No, you got to watch it. I'm sorry. The analysis.
Then don't watch it.
You can't do that. Remember we talked about that. The FCC starting to listen to your podcast. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's always fun.
And then give them something to have a catchphrase to end on.
I'd say Ryan Seacrest, peace out. I always like that. That's from Reno 911, where the guy, you have to see it. Very few people are aware of what I'm talking about, but those who do will laugh.
If you know,
nobody else will.
Bye, y'all.